What's going on, guys, and welcome to the Week 2 recap and Week 3 preview for the Fantasy Boys League, brought to you by High Motor Fantasy. AJ is unfortunately unable to fulfill his one duty of talking about the damn matchups because he's not here. So I brought along Kramer and Tony, and I guess I'll be doing the AJ role today. So should we just jump right into it?
Let's get it.
All right. I'm going to go a little out of order here. I'm going to talk about the one matchup that was affected by our awful commissioner and myself. So, if you guys didn't know, Sleeper for some reason defaults to -1 fumbles and -2 for fumbled loss. So I assume that doesn't stack because nobody plays with -3 for a fumble loss. But apparently it doesn't stack. So I had to go in, switch the rules, and actually rescore everything for Week 1 and 2. Nothing changed for Week 1, so you guys didn't miss out on anything. But this game between Andrew and Dylan flip-flopped, and Dylan was celebrating his win, and then he wakes up in the morning and says, damn it, I lost. So let's talk about this matchup. Brady went off for Dylan. That's why he was even in this game, in my opinion. Duke Johnson was not the play. I'm surprised he played him after last week, but we'll take a look at his bench in a little bit. Antonio Brown showed out, which was a little surprising for me. I thought he wasn't going to get force-fed like he did. It was rather interesting, but if you own Antonio Brown, I would be excited. We also see that Dylan had to start Giovanni Bernard, which I guess that tells you all you need to know about his bench. Never mind. John Ross also had a good game because of that last-second catch. Looking at Andrew's team, a lot of guys, performing kind of what you expected. I mean, Rodgers against the Vikings, 18 is pretty good. Bell, with what happened to both his quarterbacks, I think that's best case scenario is at 15. James White played well. Julio does what Julio does. But in the end, he ends with a less than a 1-point victory, around 0.6. Looking at the benches, if anything could have changed this game, it doesn't really look like it. I'm really shocked Dylan wouldn't put Mike Williams in. I think even with the bum knee, I would have played him over Giovanni Bernard, knowing that Mixon was in there. But anything you guys would have done different? I don't think it changes anything.
I definitely for sure would have played Mike Williams. I mean, that would have given him enough points
to win.
Playing him over Giovanni Bernard to win. Duke Johnson, I guess, had 11 points in the first week. So I guess it makes sense to play him, but he didn't get, a ton of usage in that game. And I was never really high on Duke Johnson to begin with because he's a receiving running back on a team that never passes to the running back.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that was definitely the biggest mistake here. Chen also had Andrew Chen, I guess I'm not Jeremy Lin. Also had Curtis Samuel on his bench, but I don't even think he could have really, I guess.
He could have got like one extra point out of it.
Yeah,
so
nothing really.
He played the week well. Yeah, any comments from you, Tony?
No, I mean, you can't really do much when you pretty much made your best lineup and you still lost. So.
Yeah, I mean, the one thing you can do is not drop Miles Sanders, but thank you for that, Dylan.
I don't even think that would have helped him, to be honest.
Yeah, he would have won the game. So there you go. I think Dylan wins dumbest drop of the year already, but we'll see.
I don't think he would have played
probably.
him, though, because he benched Sproles, who he dropped Miles Sanders for anyway. So
That's very true. All right. Going back up, we'll go with my matchup next. It was another routing, as we all predicted here last week. 136 to 65.
Disgusting.
Hunter got his
65.
booty slapped. He played Mitch Trubisky, horrible play. Christian McCaffrey, I played against him in almost every league this week. It was insane. I'm sitting there like, oh, they're playing Tampa. I'm screwed.
Tampa, that's like a 30-point game.
That should be a 30 to 40-point game. The fact that he only got 6, I'm literally thanking the gods right now. It is maybe the luckiest thing that's happened to me in fantasy. Marlon Mack didn't play well, but he was up against Tennessee. Allen Robinson, Mitch only had 5 points. Can't really expect Allen Robinson to have any. Lockett does what I think he's going to do every week, which is get 14 points. Hawkinson, a big disappointment for I think a lot of people picked him up. I don't have him in any leagues, but I would have expected a little bit more, especially against the Chargers. Devin Singletary getting hurt does not help. Matt Prater playing like a bum didn't help. The Bengals playing like bums didn't help. I mean, nobody played well on Hunter's team, but I think
Who
even
would
if they
start the Bengals defense?
yeah, no, I agree. I think
Questionable at best.
I know there's Green Bay playing the Vikings on the waiver, so
yeah. So that was, even if he played like all his players played well, I don't know if he beats me, but the Mitch Trubisky over Kyler Murray was a little odd. On my side of the ball, Lamar played incredible again. Eckler, Cook, they're all going off for me. I'm not going to lie. Of course, there's a little luck involved in that. Sammy Watkins had a bummer of a week, but he did get 13 targets, so I'm not worried about that. Robert Woods had 21 fantasy points taken off the board off of 2 or 3 penalties. Thank you, the right tackle who had nothing to do with the play, for holding the linebacker. Mixon came out of the game because they were getting destroyed, and he has that problem. Josh Gordon. Take a pause here. Are you guys worried about Josh Gordon? Should I be worried about Josh Gordon with Antonio Brown there?
I think you don't have to be completely worried. I think you could still spot start him. I mean, that's kind of where most people ended up drafting him, is in a spot where he was a little bit later in drafts and you can grab him. I think most of the reason he scored so low this week is because they were playing Miami and they didn't need to pass the ball. And it was Antonio Brown's first game, so obviously they're just going to force feed the hell out of him. I think going forward, I would still go for a matchup. Play him in a matchup where you think the other team's actually going to put up a fight. Like this week, probably not. But again, he's probably going to have, only a couple points. But once he starts playing against teams that will actually put up a fight and make the Patriots do anything on offense, I think he's a good play because he still gets those deep-ass touchdowns.
Yeah, I'm waiting for Edelman to get hurt.
I agree. I mean, he had 5 targets. I think most of them came on the first drive, too. It was just they didn't really need to pass the ball after the first drive when the other team's offense throws 2 touchdown passes for you. That, kind of makes it easy to not have to pass the ball.
So on my bench, I once again earned worst manager of the week because Emmanuel Sanders, surprisingly against Chicago, just had a great game. Very, very excited about him. I think he's going to be almost a wide receiver 1 this year. Terry McLaurin doing what he's been doing. Miles Sanders had a decent game. Matt Breida. This is maybe the first time I've ever seen 3 running backs go off in one game. That was kind of incredible to watch in San Francisco.
Oh, yeah.
So another win for me. Currently in first place with my points scored. Moving on to AJ versus P-Jack. A little bit of a closer game. I think we talked about how this was going to be one of the closer games of the week. Wentz kind of saved himself there. I don't think P-Jack wins if Wentz stays out of that game because he went out with 0 points. So it was a good thing for him.
Wow. Oh, yeah, that was really early in the game.
It was actually, I think it was midway through second quarter. He just, up until that point, he had like 2 interceptions and no yards.
Yeah.
So, Wentz coming back obviously helped P-Jack win that game. Chris Carson, not a great week, not horrific. That fumble was kind of really inexcusable. He had a fumble when they're trying to ice the game, almost gave Pittsburgh the chance to win it. None of his players really went off until you get to Raheem Mostert. What a play this week. Great job by him. I would have been nervous to play him even if I grabbed him, and he showed up with the 22.6 points. That combined with Calvin Ridley is what pushed him over the top against AJ.
And the Patriots defense scoring 7 points.
I was going to say, as we scroll down, never mind, this is why he won. 37 points by the Patriots defense, 4 interceptions, 7 sacks, 2 TDs. They had a better game than Mahomes has had so far this year. That's all you need to know. Looking at AJ's side, I mean, hard pill to swallow when you go up against a D that scored 37. He played Dak, Saquon, both had good games. Mark Ingram, kind of expected a lower week from Mark Ingram. I feel like Arizona's run D's actually been playing decently well. And Arizona was
when your pass defense is that bad, who cares about the run defense?
No, well, that's exactly what I mean. Mark Ingram just 13 carries, didn't get the same opportunity.
Yeah, didn't he leave for a little bit too? He got hurt for a little bit of the game.
He did get he
his
went
shoulder.
he went to the sideline and just fell over. I was
Yeah, so he
very
was
worried.
out for a little bit. That might be why he didn't get that many touches too.
That's
So.
a good point. Evans, a little bit worrisome so far this season. I think he bounces back. Thielen had a 10-point game. Ertz, on 16 targets, only getting 13 points, is a little disappointing. Sonny Michel,
16. Jesus.
yeah.
Throw it somewhere else.
Cleveland's D got 14 points, so he thought he was riding high with Cleveland's D getting 14, but Patriots just, whew, that was ridiculous. Looking at their benches, Cam Newton's now off his roster, as well as Dare Ogunbowale.
A Google Ball, whatever.
Ogunbowale, whatever, as you said.
A Goomba Wale?
I will say, thank you, AJ, for finally dropping a backup tight end. I don't know why he was on your roster, especially when you have Ertz, but whatever. Nobody that I see here would have made a difference on either side. I mean, there are, but nobody that you would have realistically played. I know Payne Barber wasn't supposed to get any carries according to Rappin' Sheet, but that obviously didn't turn out like he thought. That was
we'll
weird.
see that when we go to my matchup.
Yeah, so let's do that. Let's move over. So again, just to recap, AJ with the loss, P-Jack with the win, going to 2-0 and 0-2 respectively, or not very respectively because you're 0-2. Kramer, 0-2, losing by 2 points to the gastroenterologist himself, your brother Lake. You lost to the taco. Well,
Yeah, because of a 83-yard slant to fucking Odell. I hate nothing more than seeing a stupid slant somehow get by like 7 people in the backfield. Like, no one can stop that. Where's your safeties? What the fuck?
well, you know what nobody can stop is Devontae Parker, because he was 0 for 7 with 1 tackle. How? How, man? Like,
One catch. One of those 7 probably would have gotten me the win.
Exactly. So, you played Mahomes, you had Zeke, you played Latavius Murray and Devontae Parker. That really hurt. You go down. Cooper was a good play. Kelsey obviously is always a good play. Then you listen to Rappaport. Your first mistake. You played Ronald Jones.
God.
I honestly thought in the morning when he said Antonio Brown was going to get a ton of snaps, I was like, there's no way now because he reported it. But then I realized, obviously, Belichick told him because then no one would believe him. Those 4D chests there. A.J. Brown with 4 points. Harrison Butker with 4 points. Your team just really let you down.
Yeah, I had to make as you can see from my bench, I made a lot of moves this week.
There's a lot of off roster. See a lot of red here. A.J. Green, off the boot, I guess. Running.
Coming back soon, hopefully. Please.
Looking at Lake, though, David Johnson didn't particularly have a good week. Henry had a decent one. But OBJ is really what saved him. 10 Ginn even got 0 points. This was just a poor week from both of you. Nobody played particularly well.
Yeah. I think we were still like middle of the pack in scoring. Like, I think I was like 4th or 5th. Or no, 5th or 6th, and he was 5th or something.
It's because I'm hogging all the points on my bench.
Yeah.
Russell Wilson had 30 points. Frank Gore had 15. So there was opportunity to score even more on Lakeside. But, again, realistically, not plays you would have made. So Lake goes to 2-0. Talk about beginner's luck.
Yep.
Is Justice Hill not on his roster? No, he's still there. I'm just making sure his 6th-round pick is still on the roster.
3.7 points. Just
Moving.
wait. I do love Justice Hill for the end of the season, but
So we are now going to move on to AK and Cameron. Killer Cam goes to 0-2. AK to 2-0. Another close matchup. Another one where it's not a ton of points. 112 to 105. Matt Ryan versus Philip Rivers, I think, is the immediate place you're going to see the real difference in this week. Matt Ryan showed out. Philip Rivers super disappointed against Detroit. But you want to talk about disappointment with Drew Brees going out. Alvin Kamara only getting 6.5 points. I mean, I hope no one listened to DFS Saturday, at least what I said, and they listened to what Tony said, because between Kamara, Juju, and Ben, I literally lost so much money. Because those were my 3, there's no way they have bad weeks. Well, I guess the one way is the quarterback getting hurt. That is a very easy way for them to have bad weeks. going down Devontae, I think, he didn't run the ball well, but I see Devontae Freeman kind of coming out of this and being okay by the end of the season. T.Y. Galladay played well. Olsen played okay. He had to start Malcolm Brown. I don't know if he had to. Let's look towards his team. He does have Cohen, Justin Jackson, Gus Edwards. So I think he was
nothing on his bench.
I mean, none of them really would have
points-wise.
done anything different. So
Yeah, exactly. He kind of went for the shot with Malcolm. I don't blame it. But he did end up with the loss. Again, look at AK. Matt Ryan kind of carried that roster. Chubb had a better game as well as Carry-On. Edelman only had he had one carry and 4 receptions for 720. Jeffrey's out, so that obviously put a damper on AK's week, but he did end up winning it. Josh Jacobs didn't play well. I guess that's one thing I kind of called in the DFS Saturday.
He did play well.
Okay, he played well. He just didn't play well for fantasy, as in didn't get enough opportunity.
He had 99 yards, so.
Yeah. Metcalf with that big TD. Delaney Walker a little disappointing this week, but it is tight ends. The kickers and defense were a little bit of a wash. So AK pulls the 7-point win. He goes to 2-0 on the season. And now to Ryan and Tony. Even worse of a matchup. King Breezes himself dead with 3 for 538 yards and an interception. That's what cost you the week. I think we could say it right there. Michael Thomas, he had 13 targets, but those are Teddy Bridgewater targets. They're just not the same. So 3.
Yeah, they're about 1 yard each, so
13
pretty useless.
Ebron had you that TD, kind of kept you in it a little bit. Robbie Gould with his 12 points, but the Broncos, have they even gotten a sack yet? I think they had 0 points the first week.
They don't know what those are.
They don't know what sacks are. They don't know what interceptions are. They literally haven't gotten a turnover or a sack so far. So if the Bears defense turned up a little bit and Drew survives maybe another half a quarter, you probably edge this win out. But instead, Ryan, who got disappointed by Deshaun Watson, Damian Williams, Hopkins, they all played horribly, but Aaron Jones, Cooper, Vance McDonald just did enough to edge out Tony.
Yeah, Broncos D has 0 sacks, 0 forced fumbles,
0 interceptions.
0 interceptions.
0 safeties, obviously.
Yeah.
Deshaun Jackson got hurt, but when you look at what happened to Tony, it just does not compare. Looking towards your guys' benches, you sat David Montgomery. You sat Baby Chark, do. Any regrets there?
No, I mean, I think I made the right choices. It's just,
No, you did.
This is like the second week in a row where my players just decide, 1 quarter of football's done, I'm going to get hurt. So you can't really come back from that sometimes.
No, not too much to go into this matchup. It was just, again, you're going to have these weeks in fantasy. You just hope it's not all your fantasy rosters like Tony's.
What's that about you?
So that's all the matchups this week. We got through it, I think, a little bit faster than AJ did it. So you know what? Maybe I do his job better. But that gives us time to... I want to go through the waiver wire, obviously. But... Oh, okay, never mind. There was a huge argument about the rule change, but that was in our Dynasty League with Hunter. That would have made for some good content, but we'll stick to this league.
Yeah.
There was some disagreement about changing the rules to what they obviously should be. But a little funny. So first, on our waiver wire, we go all the way up. Nelson Aguilar, $17. To Kramer. Dropping Devontae Parker, the 0 for 7 boy. The only other bid was P-Jack with 6. I would say 17 is an overpay for an Aguilar, but the fact that you're 0-2, you're going to have to play him this week. I get why you did it. You kind of had to.
Yeah, he's going to... I mean... With Deshaun Jackson not playing and Alshon Jeffrey not playing, it's basically just going to be Nelson Aguilar and Zach Ertz. And I'm hoping that this will fill just a little bit of a slot where my wide receivers have been absolute trash until A.J. Green gets back for the next 2-3 weeks. So really hoping it pays off. And I'd seen some of the crazy values some of the players were going for earlier. And I was just like, okay, I wanted to put in like 11. And I was like, that's probably more than enough. And then I got a little bit high. and was like, oh shit, people are going to put like 14. And then I moved it to 15, and then I moved it to 17. So that was just me getting in my thoughts a little bit.
That's why you don't get high and play fantasy, kids. No, it makes sense. We moved down. Josh Allen for 13. Tony bid 7 on it. If I was in your shoes, Tony, I would have also bid 7. It's just disappointing
I was just looking at how many quarterbacks were there, and I was like, oh, no one's probably going to pick Josh Allen. Like, looking at the other people that needed quarterbacks was pretty much just Cam, and I thought he wouldn't do it. But
I think for how much fab you have left, it's almost better that you didn't because of the other guys available this week. Cam goes ahead and drops Big Ben Outlisberger. He'll have some time to just go and hang out in Lake Tahoe. We'll move on to Kramer, who added Debo for 11. Now, this is interesting. Let's talk about both these together. You dropped Kiki. You outbid Hunter at 9 and P-Jack at 6, so really good bid there. But you didn't go after DeMarcus Robinson, who AJ got for 10. Knowing that you're 0-2, why didn't you bid for DeMarcus Robinson? I personally would have. I think he looked really good. He was on the field for, I think, 90% of the snaps alongside Watkins.
Yeah, it's just a case of I don't want to chase the dragon, where he got a pretty shitty week 1, and then came out last week. And I feel like with Mahomes, it's just going to kind of go all over the place, and it's going to be really hard to predict. It's going to be, like Sammy Watkins this week didn't have that great of a week after he absolutely went off week 1. This week is DeMarcus Robinson. Next week it might be Travis Kelce. I don't think there's one real player who's going to, with Tyreek Hill out, take the majority of all these enormous game touchdowns, besides maybe Travis Kelce. But yeah, I went more for what I needed is just like players that, because DeMarcus is kind of that boomer bust. I feel like I needed like Deebo Samuel's been getting like 7 targets last week, been playing all the snaps. Nelson Aguilar, I knew for at least a couple weeks is going to get a ton of snaps, get a ton of targets. So I just needed some solid players, so I don't get a bunch of fucking goose eggs that will still probably goose egg in my lineup.
That's obviously true. I don't think either of these are an overpay. Any comments from you, Tony?
no, I think they're good buys, especially in your situation, which I'm very familiar with at this point.
All right, we move on. AK went ahead and grabbed Devin Smith for 7. Not a bad buy, especially with them playing Miami and Gallup being out for 2 to 4 weeks. Amendola, I said he might end up being a safe play this year after last week, and then he goes and gets 0 targets. So I'm going to just stop giving fantasy advice. Moving down, Dylan paid $4 for Green Bay's defense, but there were 3 total bids. Hunter 3, and then AK just put a waiver claim in at $0.
Who do they play this week?
Green Bay plays Denver at home. However,
he did drop the Titans playing Jacksonville, so
yeah, that's literally what I was gonna say. To bid $4, I think it's really a wash. Jacksonville. I honestly say Denver has a better offense, and the Titans have a better defense. So I don't know if I agree with this move and the fact they paid $4 for it. Dylan's been questionable. I've questioned every one of Dylan's moves so far. So, sorry, Dylan.
That's how Dylan is, though. But, like, in one of our other leagues, it's like he was just always doing questionable moves and then somehow won back-to-back championships just with a lineup that looked so questionable at the start of the year. He just does it somehow. I don't get it.
I don't know. Maybe you guys
Not
are questionable. The fact that you guys lost twice to Dylan. But, there you go. $3, Kramer, you are awarded Jeffrey Wilson, the red zone running back. I don't know if I don't know what's going on in San Francisco, but apparently you have a red zone running back for a few weeks, so that'll be fun. Mike Davis
Not
is
super
useless.
excited about it, but better than Mike Davis.
It is better than Mike Davis. Randall Cobb, the $2 bid. Kramer bid 3, but it was invalid because you overspent. I guess you have no money left.
No, I put 2 on Kiki QT. So if I didn't get Deebo Samuel, I was gonna drop Kiki for Randall Cobb.
Okay, I was gonna say that's a lot of money you must have spent. Nope, makes sense. Randall Cobb. I think Devin Smith at 7 and Randall Cobb for 2. Cobb's definitely the better value in a league like this, a redraft one. I mean, it's not that Devin Smith necessarily has a ton of dynasty value, but I could see a reasonable world to put more on him. But I think Randall Cobb's going to get so many underneath receptions against Miami, and then Miami can't tackle. They don't even have Minkah Fitzpatrick anymore. Oh my God. The spread at 21.5 isn't enough. I would not be.
At this point, I think people every week are just going to be adding every single starter for whatever offense is playing Miami.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, are you ready for Zeke to score like 40 points this week against
Zeke
Miami?
might not
I'm ready
play
for
that
it.
much. I think they legitimately might take him out. Because
that would be legitimately unfortunate.
Well, if you have Zeke, it would be. Hunter adding Eddie Pinheiro, the clutch Chicago kicker. Mitchell Trubisky.
Eddie Pinheiro.
Matthew Prater, the former disciple of Jesus, apparently just fell off a cliff. What'd you guys think of that game-winning drive by Mitch? I mean, he had so many good completions. And by so many, I mean literally one because they called a bullshit personal foul.
Yeah, I mean, like I said earlier, it's good news that the refs still think he's a passer, so there's some hope.
Wasn't there another BS call on that drive too? Or it was the catch.
Time.
I don't think he had a full second. I mean, he was down on the ground, and I guess they gave it to him immediately. But I feel like that second probably should have ran out. But
the thing
maybe that's my opinion.
In the Alabama-Auburn game a few years ago, do you remember the kick that ended up getting returned by Auburn? They spent 20 minutes reviewing that. And it's like, this is an NFL game, and they're just like, nah, we'll give you the timeout. We're not even going to look at it. Like,
it took like 15 seconds.
It was very odd. But that's your weekly shade on the Bears just for Hunter's amusement. AJ added the Chargers, dropped the Browns defense. Another one that, I don't know, doesn't really matter. Spent $0. Some other free agency moves Jameis added to Cameron's roster. So
I gotta say, why did he bid all that money on Josh Allen and then just add Jameis right after too? Like, what?
I was literally gonna say. So it looks like Cameron's just trying to screw over Tony.
Clearly, since we play each other this week, he's just like, screw it, dude. My bench is garb too, so.
I've done that before. Just waiver block every player.
10D chest. Hunter dropped the Bengals D, added Tampa Bay's defense. Who does Tampa play again?
The Giants.
Play never mind. Great move.
Yeah.
Ty Johnson added by Hunter. Dropped Kalen Ballage. I'll add a emoji to that one. Ty Johnson got boosted this the angry face. CJ Anderson got dropped. So Ty Johnson, may start getting, a few snaps, 20% maybe. And if Kerryon does go down, which with his injury history, there's a chance, you have a running back too in Ty Johnson, in my opinion. But
Patricia will still find someone else to use beside him.
He does a good job of that. JJ Arcega-Whiteside. So as the Nelson Aguilar owner, are you worried at all about Arcega-Whiteside? I think he's a decent wide receiver. I don't think he's too great, but
he's a good red zone threat, but I don't think he has a very good route tree where Nelson Aguilar has. He's going to be playing in the slot, I believe, most of the game, and has a more diverse route tree and can actually run routes, where I feel like J.J. Arcega-Whiteside is kind of a one-trick pony, just run down the field and toss it up to him.
I mean,
which he's pretty good at, but
this is the thing. When I'm, doing my research for the NFL draft every year, when I look at wide receivers, I look at guys who get separation, because guys who don't get separation in college never make it in the NFL. And that's why so many years back, I was crying when the Vikings took Laquan Treadwell, because he never got separation. I'm like, if you can't do it against college corners, how are you going to do it in the NFL? And JJ's going to have the same problem. Now, JJ's a little bit bigger. He could probably get a few more of those jump balls. But I'd be more interested if he was a tight end going up against linebackers and safeties. I don't think he's going to end up being too much in the NFL, more than the occasional touchdown. So I agree with you there.
He's no Hakeem Butler.
No, he is not. Jimmy G. So, Tony, you end up getting a good quarterback anyway.
Yeah.
This week.
Worked out for free, so.
Kramer added Cole Beasley for free. Now that
The
might
Beasles.
be a better wide receiver. No one dropped him, right? He was just there.
Yeah, he was just there. He's in my flex right now, I think.
Yeah, I think he was undrafted and just chilling.
Just chilling, 7 points, whatever, 10 points. That's fine. I'll take it, man. As long as it's not a goose egg.
Yeah, we gotta take what we can get at this point.
All right, just to finish it off, Trey Quinn was added by Kramer, dropping Corey Davis. I added the
Fuck Corey Davis.
I added the Jacksonville D against Tennessee, hoping that Derrick Henry doesn't score 4 touchdowns again, and if he does, there's at least some Mariota interceptions involved. Hauschka got added. The Redskins D got added. No faith in the Bears. The rest of our chat is talking about a trade that's irrelevant to this league. So, moving on to week 3 matchups. We're going to go with the Pick'em show again. We're not going to look too in-depth into these, just giving you a small preview. I'm favored 19 points over. I'm not Jeremy Lin. I got Lamar, Eckler, Dalvin Cook, who I'm all feeling very confident in. That Jacksonville D. This week I'm playing Emmanuel Sanders and Joe Mixon unless some news comes out that Mixon re-aggravates his injury. I'm going to go with me again. I think I'm on a roll. I don't see anyone that I'm too scared of in this line. I think Julio's going to have a good game. Kittle's going to have a good game, but Bell's probably not going to play the second half because you're going to be down by 40. Tyrell Williams has a lingering injury, and he's going to be going up against Xavier Rhodes. I don't know. I'm confident in myself. I'd put money on me.
Yeah, I'd say same thing. I like Jones against Indianapolis, Cooks against Cleveland, Kittle against Pittsburgh. Williams isn't too bad of a matchup. Same with, I guess, Rodgers, but Jackson against Kansas City, Andrews against Kansas City, Woods against Cleveland too, Dalvin against Oakland, Eckler versus Houston. Those are all just too much to overcome, I think.
Where are you
Yeah,
going
I
with,
think
Tony?
I think you got to go with you. I mean, just the Lamar Jackson, Mark Andrews stack for another week. That's like been 60 to 70 points per week. So
Yeah, that's been helping me a bit. I'm not gonna lie. All right, moving on. P-Jack versus Lake. P-Jack 8-point favorite in this. Wentz against Detroit with the depleted offensive weapons. Wilson against New Orleans without Drew Brees. That's going to be an interesting quarterback matchup. We're looking at the running backs. Derrick Henry destroyed Jacksonville last year.
Oh, God, yeah. Forgot about that.
David Johnson against Carolina. Carolina's D hasn't been particularly good against the run, which is a little bit surprising. But on the other end, we do have Gurley against Cleveland and Carson against the Saints. The OBJ Juju face-off, I think OBJ has another good week. But yeah, looking at it, I'm going to go with Lake on this one. I think Lake pulls the win out. I think it's going to be close. But I kind of like his matchups more. I think he's being a little underestimated.
I think it's almost like, I would put it as basically even almost all the way down until you get to like the last 4 with Greg Zuerlein, Will Lutz, that's, wash, whatever, kickers. But Patriots D against the Jets, Rams D against Cleveland. I guess they're going to get a bunch of picks too because Baker has no problem throwing those. But Deion Lewis compared to Peyton Barber, I'd take Peyton Barber. Ridley versus Ginn, I'd take Ridley. But then Howard versus Ingram, I'd definitely take Ingram. I mean, it's going to be close. That's a coin flip to me. If Lake, I'm going to have to tell Lake to put Frank Gore in.
I was going to say, if Lake puts Frank Gore in instead of Deion Lewis, I feel more confident
I think
myself.
instead of Ted Ginn.
Really?
Ted Ginn's even worse. Dude, who's throwing him the
Yeah,
ball?
with Teddy Bridgewater. True.
We do even know if it's Teddy Bridgewater?
Dude,
I'd almost
Taysom Hill.
put Dante Pettis or Jordan Howard and Frank Gore in over Ted Ginn and Deion Lewis.
Yeah. I love...
I'm going to go with P-Jack, though, just because I think Chris Carson's going to have a game just with the game script.
That New Orleans Friends look pretty good, though.
Yeah, but I think they're going to be on the field the entire game, so.
True.
And I can see Todd Gurley having one of his best games, so.
I don't think the Seattle defense is that good, though. I think
they're
if
not.
they give him a week, I hate Sean Payne's guts, but but he's a good coach, and I think you give him a week of preparing Bridgewater. He can get him. He knows the routes Bridgewater can throw. He'll be able to utilize Kamara more because for some reason Bridgewater just wasn't targeting them, and he's not going to let that happen again. I think the game ends up being closer than you think.
Man, did anyone see when Todd Gurley scored that touchdown and he slid into the end zone? Did he look like he got up like super slow and didn't look very happy after he scored that? I was like, as a Rams fan and a Seahawks fan, I know, again, I've said this a million times, but don't kill me. It made me very nervous when he got up, and then I don't think he played another snap after that. He got up and was like really, he wasn't like limping or anything. He was just really slow to get up, slowly walked over, didn't look psyched or anything at all, and just walked off the field and didn't play another snap. I'd be nervous playing him this week.
I would be ecstatic because Malcolm Brown's on my dynasty team, so go get your arthritis. Todd Gurley, sorry, I'm just kidding. I don't wish injury upon anybody unless your name is Greg Williams, you fuck twat. So, going with the Lake, you guys are going with P-Jack. We'll see what ends up happening. Kramer versus AJ. This is going to be great. We got the two analysts going up against each other. It's supposed to be only a 3-point game with AJ slightly beating out Kramer. You have the Mahomes versus Prescott. That's going to be great because while Mahomes is the greatest fantasy quarterback maybe ever, Prescott gets to play against a fucking Division II college team. You got Barkley versus Zeke, Sony Michel versus Royce. Okay, this is starting to go more in favor of AJ. Mike Evans versus Nelson Aguilar. Thielen versus Kupp is pretty even. Kelsey versus Ertz. I feel like you guys have a lot of like marquee matchups where people are arguing over who's going to have the better year.
Yeah.
Even Fitzgerald versus Beasley. Fitz has looked pretty damn good though. Cobb versus Debo. The pickups. Who do you got, Kramer?
Well, I think basically the entire week depends on if what we were talking about earlier with Zeke and Prescott. If the Cowboys come out and control the game and Dak throws if Dak throws 3 touchdowns to start the game and Zeke only runs into 1 touchdown or whatever and it's 28-0 and then they take Zeke out or something like that, then I think it'll go to him. But I think if they come out and they run the ball and, Dak only gets a touchdown or 2 touchdowns or something like that and Zeke gets 2 touchdowns, I think that's completely what this matchup is going to be swung on, is who gets the touchdowns in that game, because there's going to be a fuck ton of them.
It's literally a roulette game. There's no rhyme or reason when a defense is that bad on for who gets the touchdown, because they're sitting there and they know they can score either way. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, that's why I'm hoping that the last couple games have been Dak games, so, let's feed it to the muscle hamster, the new muscle hamster. Fuck Doug Martin.
Yeah, I think it's really just going to come down to who on the Cowboys ends up scoring the touchdowns, because if it's Dak to Cobb, it's not going to look good for you.
I'm going to have to go with AJ slightly, because I actually think Randall Cobb, he's one of those guys that's if they're up big, he might still stay in the game when other people come out. But I think Fitzgerald has another big game, and I'm worried about Debo. I don't know how he's going to get utilized against Pittsburgh. Week 1, he had way more snaps than he had week 2, actually, despite having less targets. It's just been a weird thing in San Francisco. I trust Shanahan, but as a fantasy owner, it's really up in the air. But it's going to be a close matchup. That'll be fun to recap. Moving on to... Oh, wait, Tony, did you pick somebody?
Oh, yeah, I'll pick AJ.
Ooh, screw you, Kramer. All right, moving on to Dylan versus Hunter. Two of my favorite guys in the league right now, for obvious reasons. Thank you for Miles Sanders, and thank you for Mitchell Trubisky's hilarity. Supposed to be a 5-point match in favor of Dylan. The Jets going up against New England. This is a 22. New England is favored more over the Jets than Dallas is over Miami, which is insane. So I think to get that high of a point total that Vegas is expecting, Tom Brady's going to throw the ball again, just like he did against Miami. That's going to lead to a lot of points, and Hunter's very weak at quarterback. I would probably go Kyler Murray obviously, over Mitch, but we'll see what he does.
Yep.
McCaffrey, like I said, I think Arizona's been playing the run and the running backs decently well. I don't think McCaffrey has another horrible week, but then again, Fournette's going against Tennessee. I don't think Fournette does anything. So, looking at all the matchups, I think Antonio Brown has another big week. I'm going to go ahead and go with Dylan on this one. I like a lot of his matchups. Just about every single one except for Fournette. I don't trust Mecole Hardman. I don't even think Devin Singletary's going to play against Cincinnati. So he's going to probably have to put in Robbie Anderson or Lindsey, which is not ideal. What do you guys think?
I think if we put Kyler Murray in there, that would definitely help his chances. Maybe even, I guess, Philip Lindsay over Devin Singletary, because I agree that I don't think Singletary will. I mean, he might play, but I don't think he's going to play that much. And Philip Lindsay has been, 8.6 a game. I mean, both games, 8.6 points. So, I mean, that's at least you can bet on him getting 8.6 points, hopefully. But yeah, I'd probably lean towards Dylan on this one.
Yeah, I got to go with Dylan as well. I mean, Hunter should not even have Trubisky on his roster, so I know he's a fanboy, but he's taken the meme a little bit too far at this point.
Another big thing is I don't think Hawkinson has a good week, and I think the Vikings consistently end up giving a lot of points underneath to the tight end, and underneath to the tight end is what Derek Carr does best. So you can expect a good, 50 yards on 25 catches from Waller this week. So we're all going with Dylan, screw you, Hunter. And finally, we have two more. First, Cameron, Tony, the battle of the undefeated, the winning list. This is the way that's pronounced.
There's two winless battles.
There is. We do have, of course, our two. This is hilarious how bad all the analysts are doing in our league. Kramer and AJ, the 0-2 battle against Cameron and Tony.
Don't get hammered in your draft.
Seemed to work out fine for Lake, who doesn't even know what fantasy football is until he started playing this year. Supposed to be a 9-point game for Cameron. Josh Allen and Garoppolo is apparently a wash, according to Sleeper. I give Josh Allen a little bit of an edge there, but it's going to be close. Again, Kamara versus Connor, who might not even play this week. That's going to be a very big deal in deciding this matchup, is how healthy Connor is. I think David Montgomery, looking at this week, he raised the snap percentage a bit, but he got a lot more attempts. I think Montgomery starts getting utilized like he should, and it's going to be a very solid running back too. I'd actually have him scoring just as much as Freeman will against Indianapolis. Michael Thomas got screwed because of Drew Brees, so kind of up in the air on what he's going to do. But Godwin's just been so good so far this year. He's going up against the Giants. That's going to give you a good boost, Tony. Who do you got? I want to say Tony actually pulls this one out on the condition that James Conner plays the game. Because if he doesn't, I guess you can put Chris Thompson in your running back slot and play Son, which wouldn't be the end of the world, or DJ Chark.
Yeah, well, I have to know by tomorrow for DJ Chark.
Well, it looks like you might be playing Son.
I mean, there's supposed to be huge wins in that game too, so
yeah, I don't think
either quarterback's going to be throwing too many yards.
I don't think they'd be throwing regardless. So.
Yeah, true. Yeah, and I agree. I would say Josh Allen would outscore Garoppolo. Kamara and Freeman are the interesting ones for me because Freeman has not been doing that great. Their offensive line just looks like trash. And Kamara, I think, will probably actually put up a decent week against Seattle. And then James Conner and David Montgomery. Those are going to be, I think that's pretty big right there because I think Alvin Kamara is going to get basically more than all three of these guys combined against Seattle, even though they're my own people. But
yeah,
I don't think James Conner plays that much. If he does,
I'm gonna have to go ahead and reverse what I said. We missed probably the biggest point of this matchup, and that's Whoever gets the defense against Miami gets a free 25 plus
Yeah, I was
points.
gonna say,
Oh,
these guys
yeah,
are
true.
Cowboys,
Fuck.
so it's over.
It's pretty much over for Tony. I was gonna say
Yeah.
I see Hollywood Brown having. I mean, there is
Yeah,
a world
he
where
could-
he gets 4 touchdowns this week.
Yeah, he could
Yeah,
rival
true.
rival the Cowboys on scoring this week, so that's my only hope.
Yeah, I like the bottom third of Tony's team, but I like the top.
Yeah,
Top
I see what you're
third of
saying.
games.
So
Neither one of these teams are looking really good. That's what
No.
you need to take away from this.
It's who's gonna have more goose eggs. Same like with my matchup too.
who gets injured early? Remind me not to play any of these guys on your roster during
Yeah,
my other
don't
leagues.
start anybody. I think Godwin's hopefully the only safe one.
So now we get to the battle of the undefeated AK and Ryan. Looks like AJ brought the smart friends to the league. No offense, Kramer. We got Watson against Ryan. Damian Williams with McCoy out. Interesting, but they are playing Baltimore. I think Damian Williams looks horrible so far. I really
They
do.
just like haven't let him touch the ball. I feel like.
But that's
it's
partly because
weird.
he's not good.
I mean, at the end of the year last year, they were letting him touch it a decent amount, and he looked pretty good. I think they're just, I don't know. It seems like I have no idea, honestly. I don't know what they're doing.
Darwin Thompson.
He looks good in the passing game for sure. I mean, the running game, I just haven't. Even when he's gotten the ball, it just doesn't really seem like there's running lanes.
It's legitimately like you're watching a different sport when you watch Kansas City play, because the field is like, on most plays,
Open.
yeah, it's like on most plays everybody's within 20 yards, within the first 3 seconds of the play, obviously. When they're playing Kansas City, it's like there's 2 guys in the end zone, a second into the play, the linemen are all spread out, freaking Mahomes is like 20 feet back and rushing out to the right. It's just a weird form of football watching their offense. Anyway, I don't think Damian Williams has a good week. I think Chubb has a great week against the Rams. I think Carrion has a
Oh
good
no,
week against
that
Philly.
Rams line has looked scary good.
I don't think
Like
Chubb
they've
has
been
a great
stuffing
week.
every running back going against them right now.
They couldn't stuff Carlos Hyde. Oh wait, what am I talking about? That was the
What?
Saints. Wait, no. Okay, sorry. Let me correct this. McCaffrey. Didn't McCaffrey score 40 points against them?
I don't think. Wait, was that week? Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think he had a very good. Wait, what am I thinking of here? Did he have a good yards per carry? I think he basically just got 2 touchdowns in that game
We're gonna have to
and a
look
shit
this
ton of
up.
receiving yards.
Yeah, he had a lot of receiving yards, but I think he still had decent ground yardage.
Christian McCaffrey, week 1, had holy shit. He had 19 attempts for 128 yards and 2 TDs. So, back to what I was saying. I think Chubb has a good week. I think Carrion has a good week. I think Aaron Jones has a decent one. Hopkins is probably going to bounce back. Edelman against the Jets is a little bit of a wild card. I think towards the bottom, if you wash out the top half, like they're all pretty good. But you look towards the bottom is where you start really seeing the differences. Amari Cooper against Kirk, I'm taking Amari all day.
Yeah.
McDonald against Walker, I'm taking McDonald all day, especially with 30-mile-per-hour winds. DJ Moore against Jacobs, taking DJ Moore. McCoy's in his lineup. I think that's going to have to change, obviously. And it looks like he's probably going to have to play Marvin Jones or Muhammad
Which
Sanu.
isn't a bad play.
Not
with
too
how
bad of a play, Marvin Jones. Yeah.
No.
Philly's secondary is very.
I don't think he'll score as much as Metcalf, but
No. This is where the game's going to be won and lost. I mean, the top 2 running backs and the quarterbacks are all going to have good games, I think. But you look towards this Hopkins onward, Edelman onward. It's going to be very interesting to see who wins. I'm going to go ahead and give it to Ryan. I think Prescott's actually been a little bit of hybrid targeting Cooper. Like, it looks like he looks his way every single play.
yeah.
And
I
against
agree.
Miami, he's going to be open every single play. So if that continues, he's scoring 40 points this week.
Hopefully not. Hopefully Zeke scores all those points.
Hopefully gets tackled at the 1 by the coach, because none of the
Yeah.
players are capable of tackling. All right, so who you guys taking?
I'm going with
Yeah, I'll take Ryan.
All right, that's going to conclude the preview and the recap for this week. Thank you guys for watching. As always, leave your predictions down below. Shout out to Hunter, somehow talking about Mitch still while talking about a different league in our fantasy chat. Regardless, good luck to you guys on this week 3. We'll see you Saturday. I think it's going to be Kramer, AJ, and I on the DFS show. Have fun on vacation, Tony. We'll see you next week. All right.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
See you guys.